Okay. I think we're live. Let me see. Okay. Here you are. I'm going to go down. Let me see. Speaker view for a second. How you guys doing? You can hear okay? All right. I already lit the candle, so pretend I'm lighting the candle again. Well, hello everyone. You know, they speak of the proverbial blue sky without a cloud. And today, we actually have that sky here. After last night had hail and storms and rain, and today, not a cloud in the sky. So you see, what I usually tell you is true. Those times when things are stormy, the blue sky is always there, you see. You know, it's just those storms that keep it hidden. So you see, I wasn't fooling you. There's proof up there. We have Chris and Yakshim here. We were going to have a couple of other people with us today. One has a child who has allergies. And so we're sitting with all the children with little ailments that keep their parents home today. And another one was going to see an old friend. So let's sit for all old friends and their friends too. Well, I guess that's it. Today, an old friend of ours, Ubasoku Doshin, he's the cool guy up there in the corner, coming at us from New Mexico. Our biologist and ecologist friend up there. Give us a wave, Doshin. He is filling in today as our protege, Ino Doan. You all set, Doshin? Let's hear you. Give us a sound.
Hello.
There, that's going to work. Okay, with that said, I guess we're all ready. We ready? Okay. If you've been here before, you know what to do. And if it's your first time, just follow along. Let's go.
The heart of the perfection of great wisdom sutra. Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, awakened one of compassion in Prajnaparamita, the deep practice of perfect wisdom. Perceived the emptiness of all five conditions and was free of suffering. O Shariputra, form is no other than emptiness, emptiness no other than form. Form is precisely emptiness, emptiness precisely form. Sensations, perceptions, formations, and consciousness are also like this. O Shariputra, all things are expressions of emptiness, not born, not destroyed, not stained, not pure, neither waxing nor waning. Thus emptiness is not form, not sensation, nor perception, not formation, not consciousness, no eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind. No sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, nor object of mind. No realm of sight, no realm of consciousness. No ignorance, no into ignorance. No old age and death, no sensation of old age and death. No suffering, no cause or into suffering. No path, no wisdom, and no gain. No gain, thus bodhisattvas live this Prajnaparamita with no hindrance of mind. No hindrance, therefore no fear. Far beyond all delusion, Nirvana is already here. All past, present, and future Buddhas live this Prajnaparamita and realize supreme and complete enlightenment. Therefore know that Prajnaparamita is the sacred mantra, the luminous mantra, the supreme mantra, the incomparable mantra by which all suffering is clear. This is no other than truth. Therefore set forth the Prajnaparamita mantra. Set forth this mantra and proclaim Gate, Gate, Paragate, Parasamagate, Bodhisattva. Hanya Shingu. Buddha nature pervades the whole universe, reality existing right here now. In citing the heart of great perfection of great wisdom sutra, we dedicate our sincere efforts to Shakyamuni Buddha, honored one, the historical Buddha and teacher, and to those ancient ancestors, Ithai Dogen, honored one, Soji Kanza, honored one, all successive honored ones up until Sagagu Rempa, honored one, and Godu Wafu, honored one, and to all other honored ones throughout history, same yet diverse, honored ones whose names have been forgotten or left unsaid. We also dedicate these efforts to the three treasures, Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, to all awakened ones and teachers in all places and times. We especially seek tranquility and well-being for all creatures now suffering or ill in health. May they be serene throughout all their ills. May their lives be at peace and wisdom pervade the darkness of ignorance. We dedicate our hopes and aspirations to all victims of war and violence and natural events, to the injured and to all the families touched by these tragedies, to the healing of hatred in all countries and among all people, to the wisdom and compassion of our world leaders, to the peace of the world and the harmony of all beings. Thus, let the harmful effects of words, thoughts, actions be dispelled, and compassion bloom in perpetual spring. Now we all realize that we live the enlightened way together. All Buddhas throughout space and time, all Bodhisattva, Mahasattvas, Maha, Prajna, Paramita.
Zazen? Jim, hit. We will have Zazen and a little talk. You folks here, get up and jump around 3 times if you can hear me. That's good enough. Yes. Great. I usually insist that we do our best to leave political discussions and opinions and debates at the Sangha door when we come here. As I like to remind people, it's not because I'm not personally political. Oh boy, do I have my opinions. Go to some other places on the internet, you might find Jundo talking about this and that, the important issues of society. No, my reason is a little different. Sangha has to be a special place. We come here to practice what it's like to put down the opinions and the debates for a time, and to try to sit someplace where our heart even releases for a little while thoughts of me and you and right and wrong. And the only way to do that is sometimes just for a little while to put it down. I'm not saying that you can't pick it up again later. As a matter of fact, I like to remind folks that when you leave the Sangha, after having put down the debates and the opinions and the me versus you, sometimes those issues that concern you somehow become clearer. A certain wisdom pervades them. And I also encourage people to be socially active and motivated, engaged, and sometimes are putting it down for a time and seeing something that leaps beyond all that actually brings a new vigor and energy to your efforts so you don't burn out. You see some light that shines through it all, and it keeps you going when it looks like the effort you're making is so impossible sometimes. But there are some times in the Sangha where social issues and politics and our precepts and our practice are so close together that, well, you got to say something. There are a few issues like that. I think the environment is one. We have a very good group with Doshin, our biologist, very active in it on Eco-Dharma. And Koshi, who's here today, I said, boy, we were discussing immigration policy. And I said, boy, that's really close because that's about suffering people. That's an issue. Maybe abortion is one. Sometimes people ask me. But the big one that's impacting the world, of course, is violence. There are a couple of big examples. If you were in the United States this week, I'm sure you know that there was another tragic school shooting. Little kids, teachers killed, I think about 14 people. Someone with a gun he easily purchased, and a history of mental disturbance. And of course, the war in Ukraine rages on, and that's just the ones that I saw in the newspaper. I'm sure everyone, wherever you are in the world, your local news, there were examples of senseless violence and killing. So as a Buddhist, I have to say something about this. Now, this is not going to be a talk strictly on gun policy, because if you go to those other places on the internet, you'll find Jundo has very definite ideas on gun regulation, and I'm very glad that I live in Japan, which is a place that heavily regulates guns. Chris here is a witness. When he bicycled over, he saw, I'm sure, a couple of the signs in our neighborhood here that say no gun hunting. So there are guns here, but they usually are single shot hunting weapons, highly regulated, and incidents of gun violence in Japan are very few. And if you ask me, we need to heavily regulate guns. But my friend Daiho Hilbert, who you may know, another Soto priest, very interesting guy, Vietnam War vet, shot in the head, killed some guy during the war with friendly fire, an opponent of all violence, a anti-war protester for decades, also happens to go out to the shooting range and likes his guns. And I talked to Daiho about that, and he's one of those guys who thinks that the guns themselves are not the real root of the problem. Now, I think we have too many guns and it's too easy to buy guns. And I'm going to say that. The precepts are calling me to say that. It doesn't have to be that way. But Daiho makes the point that it's not the weapons themselves. Even here in Japan, we have people who will take a knife and kill 12 people, or take a car every once in a while. A disturbed individual will just for no reason run a group of people over. I don't mean to get you down, but this is a worldwide issue. It's not just the guns. The issue is something more. That inside the human heart, for a few people, there is the inability to control themselves in excess anger that leads to violence. And also a lack of empathy for others. And some other issues like excess greed, excess desire. Excess desire is one of perhaps the root cause of our environmental issues right now. We can't stop consuming and consuming and consuming, but I want to focus on violence, crime, war. The main issue is an inability to empathize with others and their feelings, their suffering. To recognize that others are people who have a right to a life too. They're not objects to be treated as you wish. And the inability, getting angry is a human thing. People get angry. It's the cases of the rare individual who gets so angry that they will kill another, or do great violence to another. This is the problem. Now, here's the good news. I don't want to bring you down, because here's the good news. Society actually is doing okay for 99.9% of people. I just pulled that statistic out of my ear, but I think it's about right. Most people in this world get along and do not kill others and do not do violence to others. If you think about it, it takes one man to lead a country and start a war and build a structure where no one can stop him. And he surrounds himself with people who are willing to let him have his way. It's a single disturbed individual who walks into a school and does this damage, while hundreds and thousands of people around him in the same community would never do such a thing. We are actually doing okay. But we have to do something about these extreme cases. This is something that the Buddha knew, because the Buddha identified the disease. Divided thinking, which we call ignorance, lack of empathy, a lack of charity, and anger, hate, discrimination in the extreme. We all discriminate, we have likes and dislikes, but when your dislikes become so much that you're willing to take a group of people and put them in, let's say, in a camp, or bomb them without caring, this is the issue. The Buddha was right on. The Buddha was also a man who lived 2,500 years ago. And so the prescription he wrote, unfortunately, could not change the whole world. It's a serious problem for us now. Just to mention, you've heard the famous story that psychopaths, the ones who don't do physical violence, actually do very well in politics and business corporations. Why? It's, I think, biological evolution. The selfish creature who is willing to fight for himself over others tends to do well in the jungle. And Wall Street is a jungle, and Washington is a jungle. And so a large number, and I have a law background. I will testify to this by some of the business people I've met. Large number of very selfish, seemingly uncaring, but very charming. Somehow they can be charming, but really inside there's something cold. These people tend to do very well in politics and business too, and this is a problem because it's that same disease. They're not picking up a gun and shooting people, but they're using the corporation, or they're using their own personal interests to do great damage to others in society. But that's a footnote. Let me get back to it. The Buddha never found a total cure. Dogen found no answer except to build a monastery, and inside the monastery to build a world of peace. But he couldn't cure the world outside the monastery, which was a world of samurai and fighting and warlords, great inequality. The Dalai Lama, he's getting old, boy. He's been talking for decades. Beautiful message. And look at the world. Thich Nhat Hanh passed this year, another man of peace. Words are not enough. Now we sit here in Zazen because, well, honestly, we're good people doing a good thing. I don't think any of you are about to do serious violence to anybody. And we sit here because inside we know our better angels. We try to leave aside the the excess violence that we may feel in our hearts sometimes. If you feel anger, you try to let it go. The excess desire, we try to let it go, and we try to practice with this. So the Buddha, the other great Buddhist teachers, had a prescription for our way of practice, the Eightfold Path, Zazen, living by the precepts. This is a very good thing. I happen to think, and this is something that's been in my heart a long time, that if we're ever going to really deal with these issues, we have to treat it as a medical condition. Boy, if we could just eliminate most of those cases, I don't know if we can ever get everyone, but most of those cases of people who are prone to excess violence, just so that it doesn't run away with them. It's like a medical condition where if you have a medical condition, your heart starts beating so fast. You go to the cardiologist, he gives you a pill to slow it down to a normal heartbeat, so you don't have a runaway heart attack, or your metabolism is going crazy. They give you down something to restore balance, Well, anger is also a medical condition. We need to recognize it as such. And I'm not saying that people can't get angry. I'm saying you cannot get so angry that it runs away from you. And if we could find a way also in our species to increase human empathy, such that you couldn't walk by someone without feeling in your mirror neurons a little bit of their suffering, and you wouldn't do harm to them because you realize what it's like to be them. If we could increase that in our species, so that boards of directors of corporation and politics and people in politics actually felt and worried about others more as if they were their own children, what would this world be like? Would it be perfect? Probably not. Samsara cannot be completely made perfect, but I do not give up hope. I'm saying again, 99.9% of the people in this world are good. We have to deal with that, well, shall we say 0.1%, or if we include all the business people, maybe it's a little higher than that, but we need to increase our empathy. We need to do away with violence and excess. Gun regulation too, don't get me wrong. But we got to go to the root of the problem. And I'm saying that in the future, as Buddhists, we have to practice the Eightfold Path. We have to sit our Zazen. But that's not going to reach Mr. Putin. It's not going to reach the fellow in Texas with the gun who went into a school. They don't care about Zazen. They don't care about Buddha, I think. I would be very doubtful if they did. But we have to reach those people because of their disease. Excess anger that leads to violence and a lack of empathy. And if we just found a way, and I'm talking to any means possible, whether sociology or science, I don't care. The Buddha said it. That is the root of the problem. That is why school children were killed this week. That is why our rivers are filled with pollution. All these issues that the Buddha identified. If we could just eliminate those excesses, this very, very good world would truly be a great world. And samsara, while not perfect, would truly be peaceful, good place to live. Okay, that's it. That's it. We will now recite the verse of atonement and the four vows.
All harmful acts, words, and thoughts ever committed by me since of old, on account of beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and mind, now I atone for them all. to save all sentient beings, though beings numberless, to transform all delusions, though delusions inexhaustible, to perceive reality, though reality is boundless, to attain the enlightened way, a way not attainable, to save all sentient beings, though beings numberless, to transform all delusions, though delusions inexhaustible, to perceive reality, though reality is boundless, to attain the enlightened way, a way not attainable, to save all sentient beings, though beings numberless, to transform all delusions, though delusions inexhaustible, to perceive reality, though reality is boundless, to attain the enlightened way, a way non-attainable.
Well, lovely, all you gentle spirits. It was lovely to sit with you here in our nonviolent zone, which we call Sangha. Good to have you. Please go out into the world and bring a little peace and charity and empathy where you can. Every action you take can be a counter medicine to all the people who do the opposite in the world. So please do what you can to make this world a little better. We're going to have coffee or tea in a bit if anyone wants to stick around. Otherwise, I'll see you guys later. Now let me see if I remember how to get us off the air here. First, I